The motion is adopted. Without objection, a motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
There you go. The agreement between the Democrats and the Republicans stops higher taxes and severe spending cuts from coming in as they were supposed to. However, if we broaden this out a bit, low tax rates are likely to actually store up some more problems for the future. The deal means that over the next 10 years, nearly $4 trillion will be added to what the government owes. And that is coming from what is a non-partisan group called the Congressional Budget Office. But I want to put it in perspective for you, and we're going to look at this actually, the US's debt to GDP ratio, because that's a good way of looking at US economic health, or anyone's economic health, how much it owes compared with how much it produces. It's a better indicator. So if we go right back, 1965, the US debt to GDP ratio was around 38%. At the moment, we're looking at about 74%, but under this new deal, debt could be up at about, well, 90% in 10 years' time, and in 30 years we are potentially, if it keeps growing this way, we're looking at 247% of a debt to GDP ratio. And remember, this isn't just numbers we're talking about, this is money that does actually have to be paid back. I'm going to talk to James Boyes now. He's a senior researcher at King's College in London to talk about this and I guess just generally US economic and political health, James, because when you start getting into these numbers, I know those were just projections I was giving, but you know, you're getting into sort of Greece territory as far as debt to GDP ratio, and that's been going on for years and isn't going to come down for years either.
You're absolutely right. It really is no way to run the world's sole remaining superpower. And the irony about all this, of course, is that the fiscal cliff package was designed to get Republicans and Democrats to work together, to get them to bang their heads together effectively, because they'd been unable to do so over the last couple of years with a Democrat in the White House and a Republican-controlled House of Representatives. Arguably, the result that we've seen emerge over the last 24 hours has been a complete fudge, in no way solving the situation, and it really just kicked the can down the line because there's been no talks about defence cuts or cuts in spending of any sort, really. I'm
glad you said kick the can down the line because I've been sick of hearing that over the last few days, but it's true. It's making... No, it's fine. It just makes more and more problems for the next generation, the next president and all of this. I wonder, though, overall health. You know, we focused a lot on Europe in the last few years, obviously, and said, well, how will the Europe crisis affect the rest of the world? And then we see a slowdown in China, and we wonder how that will affect the rest of the world. A slowdown in the United States or big debt problems like this, the knock-on effect there must be enormous.
It will do. One of the problems, of course, is a lot of Europeans, I'm sure, are looking at this and saying, why on earth are we spending so much time focusing upon this fiscal cliff? Well, of course, one of the reasons is that so many people around the world, whether they realise it or not, have investments in the American stock market through pensions, for example. So if the American economy decides to take a dip because of a lack of confidence in Washington, that could have a knock-on effect around the world. So it really is beholden upon American political leaders of both sides to get their act together, to sort this out, not only for America's sake, but for the rest of the world as well.
And the key, and you've made the point there about the politicians having to do it, because it's not like sure, there's a sluggish economy in the US, but it's still growing. It's not in the case of your Spain's and your Europe's, Greece, where the unemployment's huge and it's not making any money. The US is still making money, but it's got to be about the politics, getting the politics right first. And well, from what we've seen over the last few days, that doesn't happen, or doesn't happen very easily.
You're absolutely right. Republicans are loath to raise taxes. Indeed, this is the first time, as I understand it, that they've done so en masse for 20 years. The last time they did it was after George Herbert Walker Bush had famously said, "Read my lips, no new taxes." He recanted on that and lost the following election. Democrats, likewise, don't want to reduce spending. So you've got two groups of people who are fundamentally opposed to really finding a long-term solution to this. And what happened last night is in no way a long-term fix. Neither side was happy with it. Indeed, the Republican leadership in the House could only get this through with the support of Democrats. It was done so over the opposition, really, of many of the Republicans, including many of the Republican leaders in the House of Representatives. And this could have a huge impact for the Republican leadership, for John Boehner, for example, who may well end up costing his job as Speaker of the House.
What a nice cheery note to start the new year on, isn't it? Thank you for that, James Boyes, live with us from London. Thank you.
Thank you.